This is Digital Anarchist at RSA San Francisco 2020.
Hey everyone, this is Alan Shimel for DevOps.com Security Boulevard. And here we are, Thursday, day 3 of our coverage from the RSA conference. We are, I guess, getting towards the home stretch, right, of RSA. It's been a crazy couple days. Our next guest is Ofer Israeli. He's the CEO, founder of, I'm drawing a blank, Illusive
Networks.
Illusive Networks. I apologize, Ofer. Now, Illusive is one of the leaders in a really, last year it was up and coming. This year it's here already. Deception technology. And he's going to explain to you what that is, especially for my DevOps audience out here, right? You guys may not know. The security people probably a little bit more. But let's start with there, Ofer. What do we mean when we talk about deception technology?
Yeah. So when we talk about deception, we think about deception in two various different lights. Both of them being how do we protect our internal pieces of the network, right? So how do we go beyond just trying to keep stuff out and knowing that we will have attackers inside our networks, how can we get to them really, really quickly? There's two very different approaches in deception, one being more decoys, honeypot-centric, which is more a threat intelligence play. How do I capture an attacker, study him, figuring him out? That's relevant for the small sliver of very sophisticated organizations. And then there's a lot broader play, which is endpoint-based deception, which is the threat detection play. How do we catch these guys? How do we do it early, effective, efficient, and ensure that we're ahead of the game?
Excellent. That was a good baseline. So, as you and I were talking about off camera, we're in sort of a post-apocalyptic world here, right? Where we've been through the perimeter and the endpoint and moving to the cloud, and now we're talking about the edge. And it seems as this grows and becomes more complex, our security responses have grown more complex. I'm going to give you a perfect example. I was talking to a few people this week, and one guy, people I know in the industry a long time, one guy, he runs a lab at one of the big public security companies. He runs the lab there, and he said, I remember in 2007, we were pushing, a quarter of a terabyte a month, 500 or 250 gigs a month, and we thought that was so outrageous. Well, we push a quarter of a petabyte a month now.
Yep.
Right? So increased by a factor of 1,000. But don't worry, we have better AI and machine learning algorithms so we can go through that data, more efficiently, even though it's 1,000 times more data. Yeah. Is that really the answer, though? Is that really where we want to be? We just want to pile on more and more?
Yeah. No, that's a fantastic question. And in my humble opinion, absolutely not. And the reason being, I think a couple different things, but we've been aggregating this whole amount of data and so on and trying to sift through it and get through, tons of false positives and tons of misfires and so on and so forth. And we almost lost sight of what is it we're trying to achieve. We've built these alert machines that will produce alerts on many, many different things from all angles, everywhere, all of the time. But that's what is the means to the end there, right? What are we really trying to get at? And the way we view it is, how do we do exactly the opposite? How do we not have this alert machine? How do we not have people that are sifting through the noise? How do we get things that are purely accurate and then start to automate around that, right? Mm-hmm. And if you can get to that level of accuracy, I think you're in a different level of state. You mentioned also, in regards to AI, I think a lot of the world is going through disillusionment in that regard, where it was kind of thought of, we'll get this massive amount of data,
of course it's a
little AI,
about it, because whenever your hype cycle is so high, it can never live up to it. It was down to happen, right? I mean, and the thing, we do that over and over again with stuff. This is the new magic bullet.
Exactly.
Same as the old magic bullet.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, there is some real good that we can get from AI, that we can get from machine learning. We just can't bet the house on it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. We should leverage those capabilities. We should use them to their best extent, but we should also be very realistic about what it can and what it can't achieve, right?
Yeah, agreed. So, tell us what's doing with Illusive then. How does Illusive help the people out watching this, give them a little bit of security, right? A sense of security, make them more secure, but also maybe simplify the mission, if you will.
Sure.
Right?
So with Illusive, as should be the case with any security vendor, our whole purpose is how do we enable the organization to focus on their business, right? And not focus on what's attacking them. Mm-hmm. And the way we think about this is that if you're able to build a solution that is very easy to stand up and roll out, doesn't require a lot of people or a lot of effort, and at the same time exactly doesn't produce that alert machine, produces a very silent system that will seldomly alert, and when it does, it actually counts and you can jump when needed to, then you've done exactly that, right? And then you kind of avoid this problem of the skills shortage and how do I chase my own tail with more and more data and consuming it and figuring it out and so on and so forth. But having something that'll work for you, it'll do its thing, it'll call you up proactively, if you will, when need be.
Yep, excellent. I want to ask you a CEO kind of question though, Ofer. You know, look, when you're talking to people in the industry here, of course they've heard of deception technology, and if they've heard of deception, they've probably heard of your company. You're one of the leaders in it. When you're talking to a broader, audience, how do you, right? You don't want to sell snake oil, right? We're not going to tell them this is the vaccine they're looking for, right? But how do you bring it all together? Siri's starting with me. How do you bring it all together?
Send her my regards.
Yeah, hello. I don't even want to say the name, it'll start. How do you tie what you're doing with deception technology into your defense in depth, your standard security model, if we can call it that?
Yeah. So allow me to answer twice. We think of ourselves as the means to protect for anything moving inside the network, right? So defense in depth, keep the stuff out as best as you can, put up your controls as best as you can, but also anticipate the fact there will be an attacker inside your network. Maybe it's an external threat actor, maybe it's a malicious insider. In any case, that attacker needs to move in order to be successful. We can stop that. We can ensure that when he's in, he's paralyzed. He can't move. Right. He can't go to the next spot. So that's kind of the way we think about it in terms of where our portion in the world is in that regard. The second bit I would say is that I think a lot of this, like anything in my opinion in security, it really counts when you're very successful with your customers, right? And our kind of take on it is we provide very unique value to our customers. We catch things that no other security solution they currently own catches, and that gets the word out, right? Because they talk to their peers, and it gets out, and we're getting inbound requests from companies that have said, we've heard what you've done for X, Y, or Z,
right?
And we want to talk.
And again, that sets up its own hype cycle, right? Because then you become sort of this urban myth, urban legend, right? Oh yeah, just put deception, elusive in, nothing to worry about. And that's always the fatal, right?
Yep.
What is it? The 7 deadly sins, right? That's one of the biggest ones. So it's interesting because I think people in our industry are always gravitating to the next greatest thing. And like you said, with AI, you don't want deception technology to be the next greatest thing. That next year we're sitting here saying, well, it didn't work like we thought it would. We still have a security problem. Nothing is the bullet on that. That being said, how's RSA? What's been the reception at RSA this year from the industry?
It's been fantastic. So what we've seen probably over the last year, but even more so over the last several months, you started off with this, deception is here. And the amount of companies that we're seeing that are adopting deception now and have projects for this year to do it is phenomenal. So it's actually breathtaking to see how much of a jump the industry has got over these last few months.
Absolutely. It was funny, I was talking, I forgot if it was Monday or Tuesday, I was chatting with a CISO at a large enterprise, and he said really he had two main projects this year, and one was deception technology, and one was around threat intel and all of that, which everyone is then figuring out how do I get actionable on that. But those seem to be that's good for you.
It is.
Good for you.
It is.
We don't have a lot of time left, but tell our audience if they want to get more information. Obviously they go to illusivenetworks.com.
That's right.
But give more than the URL. Give them a path to go down. What should they do?
Yeah, definitely contact us through illusivenetworks.com. We've built a very simple and easy way to engage with customers to be able to show them the value of managing your attack surface and of deception within a couple hours. Literally within a couple hours. Within a couple hours.
So you heard it here. Always telling you, within a couple hours, you can have this up running and get some protection.
That's right.
I'm going to hold you to it, my friend.
All right, done.
All right, a pleasure having you here. Ofer Israeli, CEO of Illusive Networks. This is Alan Shimel for DevOps.com, Security Boulevard. We're live at RSA. We'll be back in just a moment with our next interview.